Today on the Padernacht Podcast, Brick by Brick, I am honored to sit down with an amazing couple whose lives are rooted in service, community, and family. On one side, we have Jeanesca Martinez, a rising star in real estate, known for her passion, hustle, and commitment to her clients and community. And on the other side, we have Luis Martinez, a man who spent his career serving New York City. 17 years as an NYPD officer, then transitioning to the FDNY as an assistant to the chief, and now serving as a liaison to the mayor's office. Together, Jeanesca and Luis represent exactly what this show is all about, building legacy brick by brick, while also balancing demanding careers, community leadership, and family life. I am thrilled to welcome Jeanesca and Luis to the podcast.
That's a very generous way of describing.
I feel so official.
Thank you.
Yeah. How does that sound to hear somebody talking about your lives like that?
Weird. It's like out of body because you're like in the tunnel of like working and doing all the things you do, and then like to hear people say, "These are all the things that make you great." You're like, "Is that me?" So
yeah. I'm the kind of person that tends to like try to stay in the background, so to hear somebody talking about me, those things are true. But it's like, oh wow, those things are true. You know? I appreciate that. It's very honest.
Well, I mean, listen, that was what so I've known Jeanesca now for what, maybe 5-6 years?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, because
wow.
I'm gonna have 10 years
at KW.
Yeah.
Oh wow, 10 years. Okay.
Went by quick.
Yeah. So I've seen you guys like from afar, right? And I was telling you guys this before we went on air, but like I get the vibe from you guys that Jeanesca is so outgoing and you are very much reserved and tactical.
Yeah.
And I really was interested in just hearing your story and how accurate that assessment is.
That's pretty much it. Like it's us. Like I'm the one he has to like reel in sometimes, or I get the speech before we go to like really important parties, like Jeanesca, just tone it down for this one. Like, you know, my boss is gonna be here. You can't make your jokes, you know. Yeah. But then I make them anyway, and they love me. So
you couldn't be more on the money. I think the way I've described it in the past is you're the kite in the sky flying, just going at will, and I'm the tether.
All right.
The ground, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It works.
He's so good
you know?
And cheesy and corny. Like he's just
get ready for more of that.
It reminds me, you know, when I think of the yin and the yang photo.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how you guys seem to at least appear on the outside. Who knows what happens behind closed doors?
No,
it's definitely how I see it.
I can't be phony, so like I can't fake anything. So I'm, you know, unfortunately for him, I'm myself all the time. So it is really what it is.
Don't say unfortunately. It's so much fun.
No, it is. That's very true.
We see it that way too, in the most positive possible way.
What are your days like? Home life, dealing with all this personality.
No, it's fun. I encourage everybody out there to be with somebody who balances you out. I don't believe in we're all the same and do the same things. I don't like that, right? I know I like to be self-aware. I know the things where I have a lot of energy and things that I don't, and my wife perfectly balances that. So she brings a lot of energy to the house, a lot of like, let's go do this, let's get in the car and just go somewhere. I am not that person. I need to be told like, where are we going? Let me put the GPS. I know exactly how long. But you don't always want to live that way, sort of head down, not staying in the moment. And she's in the moment, right?
Gotcha.
That's how she lives. So it's a great balance.
Gotcha. And I have a quote here that I think aligns perfectly with, again, my viewpoint of your marriage. And I'm just curious to see how you guys think about it. It says, a strong marriage requires two people who choose to love each other, even on days when they struggle to like each other.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more.
Yeah.
That is just so accurate. I think about relationships at large, but like very true when the person you're with is a different personality from you, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're going into it knowing you're not going to have the same viewpoint on things. The things that annoy you don't annoy me and vice versa, right? You have different love languages. All of that is part of it from the beginning. And so that could not be more spot on for the way I think about relationships.
And it took me like a long time to get to that point because I used to, every fight we used to have before, it'd be like, well, this was the end. Like we're not meant to be together. Like the universe is telling us, you know, that we shouldn't be together. And then it was like, no, I'm choosing to be in this, and I'm choosing like, I'm gonna fight with you. Like I want to stay with you after this fight. Right. And like, I think that was a turning point for me, like in our relationship. No, totally.
Too. It's always same side, right? Even fights are in good faith between us, which is like, as long as that remains true, I'm super happy even to get into like a back. It's like, we'll be fine.
I'm not.
I feel like you could tell the strength of a relationship by how people fight. right? Like when you see married couples that are like throwing like really toxic, hurtful sort of slurs or whatever at each other or say hurtful things, you know that there's like some issues there. But if you fight respectfully and you're able to,
That's the key word, the respectfully.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause we've seen it, unfortunately, where...
No, we've seen it, yeah. We've seen it like external to ourselves. I mean, I do think that you do get to a point where you can, like, you got kids at home, things can stress you out. You can say things out of anger that are offensive, but at the end of the day, you're like, I really love this person. Period. More than I love how I feel about a thing.
Whatever
I can
that
let it
thing
go.
is.
Right, at the end of the day. So that's what I mean by good faith, right? It's just like, it's cool. And it's more challenging because we are so different. I think all of our stuff is navigating like, oh, she's a little different about how she sees these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And it's prioritizing how the person you love feels. You got to be open to those things.
And balancing children, right?
Yeah.
So, one thing that I that we talked about earlier was that, Luis, when you came into this relationship, she already had a daughter.
Yeah.
And you were, you said mid-20s?
Yeah. 24, 25, something like that.
Yeah. So how was that, stepping into a family sort of setup and stepping into that role as somebody's father?
Wait,
You
and
wanna
not
go
like
in?
a real family. Like, I mean, obviously my daughter and I were a family, but I was like in college still because I had my daughter at 16. So it was like this young girl that, from the outside looking in, everybody says this young girl hasn't even finished college, has this like kid with like, where's she going? Like, why is this guy with her? So like he was coming into
be nicer
a
to
lot.
yourself than that. Look, I think that when I stepped into the situation, I sort of alluded to this when we spoke. I was ready to step into those things in my life. I just was. It was perfect timing. I'm the kind of person that enjoys a structured life. I kind of always knew I wanted to be a dad, even as a younger person. Jaylee, our daughter, was great. She loved me at first. I think once she realized I wasn't just like a friend, and she realized, oh, but this guy's kind of here to stay. Then she started giving me a little smoke.
And she was how old?
About to be 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was still a very, very like
toddler.
a toddler.
Yeah. It was early in her life, but I loved it. I would bring her into the precinct, and I remember the first time someone asked me like, "Hey, is she yours?" And I was like, "Yes, she is."
Yeah.
And I was happy to say that. There was no like, "Oh, that's awkward." And so I fully leaned into the idea of being a dad. I loved it.
And how did that make you feel that now you've met this man who is so accepting of, your situation?
I mean, I was always scared, right? Like, you have this kid so young, and like, what's my life going to be? Is anybody going to take me seriously? And then with Luis, I was also scared for my daughter because I didn't want her to experience continuous loss. Like, I wanted her to have stable relationships in her life. So it took a long time for me to like make her know that this is a relationship that I'm in and it's serious. But it made me feel, good. Like, you're like, okay, we're working at something, and we're going to be a family, and he genuinely cares about her. He never ever made her feel like, you're not a
My
unit.
daughter.
Yeah.
No, I'm fortunate. I came from a great family. I really do. It was always inclusive of everyone. Even friends were considered family, right? So to me, to form my own version of that is something I've always strived for. And so in many ways, Jaylee was a gift in that way. She allowed me to get a head start on that.
Yeah.
So I've never described her as stepdaughter. She's my daughter, period. Yeah. And I think she would say that. She would fully agree. Like, no, we've always been a family. That was it from the beginning, pretty much.
I think there's the quote that reminds me of is anybody could be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad, or vice versa. Like, it's so important, especially in today's society where there are so many blended families.
Yeah.
That you have people, because you have people with ill intentions, and they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm attracted to this woman. She has a kid, and all right, the kid's kind of just like an add-on. But like when you are coming into it from the perspective of, I'm going to treat this child as my own, it makes a world of difference for the child. And honestly, I think society in large, right? Because like there's so many single mothers out there, and even single dads, right? Like there are those evil stepmoms out there.
Yeah.
There are. Yeah, for sure.
No, Jaylee's been blessed too, because like I feel like he set her up to have good relationships in the future with men, and whenever she does decide to date, which is hopefully never.
Hopefully never.
I was going to say, let's find out.
I know. I don't want to know.
College already.
But I think he set her up to show her, like, this is what it means to be included. This is what it means to be respected. This is what it means to be in a relationship. And so he really set her up for success in that part. I think they like I'm the outsider sometimes.
We do have very similar personalities and made it easy for us to sort of gel very quickly.
Well, you've been around her so long that I'm sure that a lot of your personality traits have probably rubbed off on her.
Yeah, she's always,
and your values and how you see the world. That's why I think it's so important for children to have, a two-parent household. So that way they have two different perspectives. And, just to piggyback on that, it's like to show a child what it's like as a female, for sure, to be loved. And to see what a healthy marriage looks like. Like, for all of your quirkiness and your tactfulness, like, you could genuinely tell that there's love there, obviously.
Yeah. No, 100%. And, like, I love that. Like Luis says, like, my daughter's not going to be impressed by, like, the bare minimum. Like, somebody's going to have to open her door for her, take her out to dinners, and, like, bring her. You always get her Valentine's Day gifts. And, like, just those little things that don't seem important to everybody, they are very important in my opinion. And so, like, that is her baseline. That's her standard. And, like, thanks to Luis.
You talked about that a lot, actually. I like that you said that, kids seeing a healthy marriage, super important to us. The kids see that. They know their parents really enjoy each other and enjoy being part of the family and, like, being together, right? Because then they don't go looking elsewhere when they become, no, it's here. All the love is here. Everything else is in addition to that. You don't go chasing happiness, right?
That's correct. I couldn't agree more. Now, you guys have 3 children in the household.
3.
So wait, I think I got this right. Oldest is 20, right? And then you have an 11-year-old and a 3-year-old.
About to be 3.
About to be 2.
We're in the about to be. So you guys have
all phases
honestly
of
like had all phases at all times.
All times.
Yeah.
So
it's
much
a lot.
fun.
It's exhausting.
It's a lot,
yeah, it's a lot. I don't recommend it.
Right, I would not. Don't do it, guys.
Not to space them out.
Don't space them out because everything changes so much. Every 10 years, the rules are different. The expectations are different. But they do fulfill us. Like, I don't know what I would do without them, but they're exhausting.
It's exhausting. I mean, also, it is like starting over. You would think you retain some of those skills of, like, oh, it's fine, I've had babies before. No. When it's like 9 years later, you forgot everything.
Yeah.
And it hurts more because you're much older.
Oh, yeah? yeah. Getting up and down from the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's hard. Like, I thought with the third one, I'm like, I had my first one at 16. I didn't even have, like, a career, a husband, a job. Like, for this one, the third one, I'm like, I'm all set. It's going to be perfect. This one was the one who kicked my ass, like, the most out of all 3 other kids, like, in their own different ways. But he's been the most challenging one, I would.
Yeah, I think it's just where we are.
For sure.
And he is a ball of energy.
He's me, yeah.
The other 2 kids are way more like me. They're, sort of even-keeled. Harry is like Jeanesca. He's a ball of fire. And a big one, too. So even carrying him is, like, hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, though.
My
It is
arm
fun
is
to have
dead.
them all there and their ages.
It's interesting because if you think about it, right, like, I have 2 older brothers, and there's a bit of a difference, right? My middle brother is 5 years older than me, and my oldest brother is 7 years older than me. Not as such 9 years, but we always talk about how we basically were raised by different sets of parents.
Yeah,
because,
totally.
like, who they were and where they were in their lives, and that couldn't be more true for you guys.
It is 100%.
I mean, for Jaylee, for my oldest, she, like, grew up with me, right? So, like, she's
like a BFF.
Yeah, and well, not really, because I was a very strict parent, actually.
Really?
But I'm very strict.
Oh,
yeah.
so true. It's hilarious.
But she grew up in the sense where, like, she went from, we were sharing a room together. My first apartment, she slept on the sofa bed. Like, when we, you know, like, so she's seen us, like, go from renting to, like, me graduating. She's been there for all my graduations from everything, you know? And so her experience has been so different. And
So
it's like she had a completely different mom. And then Nico's, you know.
Yeah, it's just different. It's 100% true. We were very different. And Jaylee, you can see it from Jaylee. She's very mature. Always has been. So you can see she was very resourceful. She has to figure it out, and she does. I'm sure some of that is because of the stages in life that she has memories of us having our first apartment.
Yeah.
The other kids can't even imagine it. So then we're like, suburban parents who live in a house with a pool. They don't know anything other than that. And James is like, dude, we used to live in the Bronx. You know what I mean?
Well, Riverdale, but
Yeah, sure. The Bronx.
That's still the Bronx.
It's the Bronx. Yeah.
It's still the Bronx. So speaking of the Bronx, so Luis, you're originally from Uptown, right? The Heights, Inwood.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from there, you, I think you said you joined this NYPD.
Yeah, I did.
When you were
Right after college.
Right
I
after
was
college.
22 when I first went.
And 17 years NYPD.
17 years. I mean, yeah, 17 years. Wow. So I started about 2005.
Okay.
And I worked the spectrum, right? Patrol, counterterrorism, many different things. That job is great because it's a universe unto itself. And so you could have any skill set and they will utilize it in some form or fashion, right? There's a beekeeper in the department. It has everything. That's not a lie. It's true.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example of how it is a universe by itself, which is what really drew me to it. One, wanting to sort of do some sort of public good, but that there's so much opportunity. It was great. Year 17, I get the opportunity to get detailed as chief of staff to the fire department, which is generally unprecedented, right? So yeah, it was just a crazy journey.
The first Dominican chief of staff in the fire department.
Oh.
So,
That is
like,
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very, like, there's some things we're going to have to
That's a
mention.
big one.
Yeah.
That is a big
The
one.
first, so wait, the first Dominican to be chief of staff for the fire department, is that it?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
That's true. Yeah, I don't highlight that, but look, the truth is that does matter to
that-
people.
yeah, that
It is
does
very
matter.
important, and it's an extreme honor that I became more and more aware of how important it was to people after I took the job, right? Where I would see folks not just in the department, right? Because there's a big diaspora of Latinos in the fire department. I don't think people really are aware of that. But even outside of it, people would be like, oh, wow, we're so proud of you. Folks, I don't really know at all. And that is, first of all, to think of yourself like that in other people's eyes is a big thing, but it's important, right? People see that and they know it's achievable. And I think that's important. And I embraced it after all.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I mean, it's important for people to realize. I mean, listen, you're a kid from Inwood, a Dominican heritage, of Dominican heritage, and you made it from, joining the police department, which I think when you probably first joined, correct me if I'm wrong, was like, hey, this is a stable job.
Oh,
good
yeah.
pension,
20
Totally.
years,
I'm gonna do my 20 years, and then I'm gonna get out of there. And then all of a sudden, year 17, somehow by the grace of God, you were offered this position with the FDNY,
Totally.
which now you have parlayed that into a position in one of the highest offices in the city, in the mayor's office, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a senior advisor in the mayor's office now. Yeah. To sort of take a step back from that, I think what I've learned is once you sort of see what the realities of achieving something is, even if it's from someone else achieving it, you can then picture yourself there. And life is visual, at least to me. Anything I've ever achieved is because I see it. So then I try it.
Yep.
If you can't see it, you'll sort of eliminate yourself from it, right? And so that's what, even becoming a police officer, it's not a thing that I had considered it, right? In college, I went to John Jay College.
Yep.
I got a degree in forensic psychology. I was always thinking like federal stuff. I got some older cousins and a best friend of mine who joined the department. And then I spoke to them and they told me what the day-to-day of actually doing that job was. And I said, I could see myself doing that, right? And so I did it. Same thing here, right? If I can show young kids, black and brown kids, let's say, in the city, or really any kids, but that sort of universe, that's a real thing for them. You don't have to be connected. You don't even have to be some sort of genius. I'm not a genius. I'm just somebody who tries.
Yep.
Why not them?
And work hard.
And of course,
Yes.
that's the first and foremost thing. You will be able to do that. No one can stop you. You can get to where you want to go. I think that's sort of the most positive thing I take from my journey.
Yeah, well, from the outside looking in, again, like that is something that I see in your journey. I mean, how were you able to, did you ever see yourself working in the mayor's office? I mean, growing up in Inwood, did you ever?
No.
No.
Hell no.
Let's see, you and I are probably around the same age, so we grew up with mayors like Dinkins and
Dinkins.
and
Giuliani in my formative years. Yeah, absolutely.
Bloomberg,
and now
he looks just like Bloomberg, right? That's why I married him.
It's wild because I sit near the
Maybe with the
Bloomberg.
tan.
Yeah.
With a tan. I sit right. No. The very short answer is honestly, even 5 years ago, I could not picture this. I went back to college. I went back to get my master's at Columbia, sort of midway through my career, because I knew I wanted to develop and do more. But even then,
Wait, hold on. I don't want to overgloss on this. So you're married, kids,
Yeah.
working full-time job as a police officer, and you went back to get your master's.
Yeah, when you say it that way. I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It is crazy when you really think about it. And it was not easy, I have to say.
No.
Well, it's easier to talk about.
I
it now,
knew
bet.
it would be hard. And then when we were doing it, I was like, oh, this is rough, you know?
So you went back to get your master's in.
In public policy.
Okay.
Yeah, I just developed an interest. I don't want to digress too much here, but when I was in the Counterterrorism Bureau in the NYPD, I worked a lot on policy development. And it's weird because you have such a niche expertise there that you're sort of making policy decisions for the department because you have the expertise. And I was interested in that, right? And just like developing policies and procedures and like how things get done. That's sort of the very structured part of my personality. So I started thinking about going back to school. And that's how that journey developed. And then I finally committed because my wife is a great partner and said, do it, invest in yourself, right? Find yourself a partner that will, support everything you want to do, like I do. And that's where it started.
My credit, you're welcome.
That's where it started. So, but even after I finished that program at Columbia University, right, I could not have imagined landing here. I mean, this is literally a job I would have never even dreamt about landing, and it's fantastic.
Are the FDNY job and the job now in the mayor's office, are they career paths that you sought out, or did somebody just say they noticed the hard work that you were doing at one point and just kind of, I guess, offered the position to you?
If you would have asked me, do you want to be chief of staff somewhere, I wouldn't have said that because I wouldn't have thought to say it. But I think the skills that job requires and that my current job requires are what I was in school for. I just wouldn't have known how to articulate it at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
sure.
yes, I guess.
And Jeanesca, so your journey was a little different, right?
To say the least. Yeah.
So you out of college, you started off as a teacher.
Yes.
Right?
So I did my undergrad to be a Spanish teacher. So that's what I started my career. I was a Spanish teacher for 7 through 12 is what my degree is for, yeah.
And then how long were you a teacher for?
Total 6 years. And then in between that, because to remain a teacher, you have to get a master's degree. I got a master's degree in special education, which was like my real passion while I was in the education world. It still is, but so I got my master's in special ed with an extension in school leadership.
Were you guys doing your master's at the same time?
No, she did hers first.
I'm about to say,
I did mine
Can you
first.
imagine? Even I can't imagine that.
Yeah. Yes, I think by the time I was like 23, 24, I was done with a master's degree.
She got it pretty well before I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were a teacher, and then how did you parlay that, or how did you decide that real estate would be a path for you?
It's a long story.
Well, we've got time.
Go ahead.
So I think being a teacher, you get burnt out. And I worked with the special education.
Oh, because you don't get burnt out in real estate at all.
No, it's different. So I was working in charter schools and, non-public day programs. And I have it's exhausting and it's just very long days. And I started to question myself, like, am I doing the right thing? Like the feeling of on Sundays was like full depression. Like,
because you had to go back Monday.
Yep, because I had to go back Monday. And we also, with our middle child, he had serious health issues. And it was one, we didn't know if he was going to make it. We lived in the hospital at some point. And it's one of those moments in your life when you're like, am I living my life the way I'm supposed to be living? Like, I don't want to live like this forever because you don't know how long you're going to be around for. So I got a Groupon actually. And I started thinking of when was I the happiest and what was the best memory is when my parents bought a house. And I thought that realtor was so amazing and so cool. And I was like, I think that's what I want to do. I feel like that would fulfill me and it's just a different day every day. And I got my real estate license online while you were still a teacher. I moved on from being a teacher. I was actually a special ed coordinator. So I had different roles.
And the special ed coordinator, that's what you, that position, meaning that you were helping schools figure out, the what does
services.
That role entail?
So any child that has a special needs or, has an IEP. So there's a meeting every year to determine, are they getting the right services? Are they meeting their goals? And so you coordinate all that with all their teachers, all the people provided them services. You make sure they have, the right, if they're going to take a state test, are they in the right room? Do they have extended time? if they are in, the way the school gets money for that student too. Are they doing it correctly?
So you're working on behalf of the Board of Education, or you're working on behalf of the students? Like how does that dynamic
I was
work?
in a charter school, so it's a little bit it's a little complicated. It's a little
and more in the
messy.
private sector.
Yes, but you're working on behalf of the student end of the day, but there's a lot of challenges there and you give that answer, we can't do any more than this, and then I would call the parent. I'm like, so you're going to send this email. You never spoke to me, and you're going to tell them that you want this and this, and I'm like, because this is what the kid needs, just advocating and helping parents advocate for their kids.
So you got your real estate license.
Yes,
right?
I did.
And did you immediately join Keller Williams, or were you?
Yeah, I did. I immediately joined Keller Williams. So that's another funny story. So I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm a realtor now. I quit my job. I convinced Luis to move into my mom's house.
Oh, you just jumped right in. You didn't do
no money, no savings.
You didn't do the dual agent for a while.
Nope, because that is who I am. I'm very we're doing this. And he's like, okay.
Invest in yourself, boo.
Yeah. He's like, so
that was my version of that.
Yeah, so we did that. And then it ended up, first year, I think I made $13,000 with 2 kids. And so I had to go back to teaching. And I worked in the suburbs, which is like utopia. And I was doing that for a year and a half. And
how did you realize that? So at that point, you must have then decided at some point, hey, you know what? I'm seeing real success as a realtor, and I'm going to go back to doing it full time. What was the first sign that you realized that this is for you?
Well, the goal was always to go back into real estate full time.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody in the teaching world that I was a realtor for a while because I didn't want it to affect my career there. Mm-hmm. But I didn't tell any of my clients that I had a full time job. So if I didn't answer a message or something during when they want it, when I'm supposed to or whatever, oh, I'm sorry, I had an appointment, I was in a meeting or whatever. But I was working 2 full-time jobs because as soon as I was done, I was out showing houses. I was doing everything that a realtor does, throughout the day. I was just packing it in and working throughout the weekend. What happened when I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to do it full time was instead of the Sunday scaries, teachers have the August scaries also.
Oh, okay.
So the whole month of August is oh my God, the countdown, September's coming. So we were at the beach and I'm like, I don't know if you remember this. I'm crying. I'm oh my God, I have to go back to work. And my amazing husband who's like, what are your deals? Tell me your deals. And what's your commission? He's like, do you know that if everything that's under contract, about to close will be your salary for the whole year? Literally this 1 month will be your salary.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm quitting.
That was it.
That's that Monday. I was like, all right, I need to meet with you guys. I'm out. Goodbye.
There it is.
Yeah. So
I think it's important, for new real estate agents, especially that are, balancing home life and, dual agency where they, dual agents that have a job and have so much going on that they have to just dive right in. And how did you, and educate themselves. So how did you educate yourself while you're balancing being a wife, a mother, and, working a job?
it was hard. I don't think I'm going to come in here and say it was so easy and
I
everybody
wouldn't
could do
imagine
it.
so.
No, I was very grateful to join the company that I did and have, the leader that we have in our office. But I was at every class that I could be at, every meeting. I couldn't, if there was a school holiday and we could be at the office, I'm there, So coming from a background in education and knowing that I'm always learning in real estate, and that's why I love it. That's one of the things, you're always going to be learning and making myself available to every opportunity I was there. You need me to sit there and answer the phones? I will sit right there, answer the phones. You need me to go show a co-op? I will be right there. And it was just, I wanted to just be in any space that would help me grow.
I think what I hear when I hear you say that is that you were just basically determined and obsessed to be successful.
100%.
No matter what
and I still
took.
am. I don't think I don't feel like and I'm glad that I don't feel that way, that I reached the top of where I'm supposed to be.
There is no top.
Yes.
That's the beautiful thing about sales.
Yes.
You're only as good as the last deal you did.
Exactly. Yeah, and with 3 kids, I have to be working forever.
And stuff is getting more expensive.
It really is.
A daughter in college will show you that you need to be working. So I need a lot of deals.
I notice a lot that you are that you work a lot with buyers.
Yes.
Is there a specific reason why you work more on the buy side than the list side? Is it preference or?
It's a little bit of preference and my comfort level, right? So I do need to eventually grow into a space where I'm very as comfortable with buyers as I am with sellers. But for me, when my parents bought their house, it was just,
I was going to say that.
Like,
I'm going to let you tell your story.
They changed our lives, they really did. And I grew up in the projects. So moving from the projects to like this little town in Rockland, it completely changed everything. Changed everything for not just like my immediate family, like my cousins and everybody around us. Right. To get to like, I'll get emotional about it. I'm the crier, but to get to like play a small role in that for some, like there's so many families that I know, like.
Ooh.
That's okay.
You lasted much longer in this conversation than I thought you would to cry.
Yeah, but there's so many families like. Not only like changing their community and like they're so happy to have a yard and their kids like they're so grateful. What's the better job than that, like, and they're creating like generational wealth and like maybe they sold that first house and they made like so much money and they get to buy something else. It's like I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
That was it. I was going to say it does.
That was awesome.
To me, and from my point of view, I've said this to you before, it does come back to the fact that you remember that visceral feeling of, oh my God, we live in this house now?
Yeah.
It's a fantastic feeling. And you're sort of recreating that moment for yourself every time.
And over and over.
Who wouldn't want to live in that, right?
I think it's I enjoy working more on the sell side, but I think it's more because of my personality is that I want to grow the business as big as possible, and it gives you the most leverage, obviously, based on our training, having the list side, and time is always something that I don't necessarily have the luxury of always having because I'm so busy doing a couple different things. Right. That the buy side, I love working with buyers for that same exact reason.
Yeah, it's so like rewarding.
The problem in our industry, I feel like, is that it's such a tough market, especially right now for buyers.
Yes.
That it's like you could take one buyer out to see 10 houses and it'll take you 5 hours as opposed to getting a listing and you could have 10 families come through in an hour.
Listen, I'll take a listing any day of the week. I'm very happy to take the listings, and but it is much more time consuming. My weekends are with, it's very rare for me to like. When you see me home, you're like, "Is everything okay? Why are you not working?"
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And my nights too. So like, when are buyers available after work? So I'm going after work. I'm going the weekend. So. It's a flexible schedule, but you are very busy, and it is time consuming.
Have you looked into the or have you done already the buyer specialist credential through the NAR?
I have to. I've been a little busy, but I will. I have to do it 100%. Like I'll probably be able to like teach that class by the time.
Yeah, I just think it's so noble, and like you might as well just get that accreditation because like you throw that on your card, and then when you're talking to people, it just allows you to even dig deeper into that.
100. Yeah, I agree. I don't do it. That'll be on my to-do list.
But think about this. Like you were teaching, right? It is a tough job, and I imagine people get burned out. But you had like set days off per se, right? Like Saturday, Sunday, you were burned out. You work more than I've ever seen you work for the last 10 years, and you're never burned out. So it's like the difference of doing the thing you really want to do. Yeah. You never really feel
finding your
burned
passion.
out. Totally.
Yeah.
You found it, right?
I did.
So, Luis, you now are a liaison for the mayor's office.
Yeah.
So I think you were telling me that you help craft, I think it's public service.
So yeah,
Can you just explain a little bit more about what that is?
Sure. Given my public safety background, I work directly under the chief of staff. And what that means is part of the portfolio in the mayor's office that has to do with public safety initiatives at large, I will advise on, whether that's developing it fully with an agency or advising on some things that they create. Usually agencies are so good in New York City, they tend to do these things themselves. But you weigh in, you help them develop it, you help them implement it. One of the things that I oversee are multi-agency operations. You might hear of it. It's called Community Link.
Okay.
Right? So you may see that in the news, some areas of the Bronx were suffering from like a lot of quality of life issues, some particular parts. And we know that's an issue generally around the Bronx widely, but some particular neighborhoods. And that's, if you leave it to one agency, they can't solve it by themselves, right?
When we're talking agency, we're talking NYPD, FDNY, parks,
sanitation. You can't leave a thing to one agency.
Parks and sanitation.
Right, yeah. And so if you left it to just NYPD, you would think, well, there's crime. They've got to do more. It's not just about that, right? Because some agencies or some areas and communities suffer, a lot of folks there suffer from drug use, addiction, right? There's some cleanliness issues. So really what you have to do is bring all the agencies together. Everybody sits down and comes up with a plan because there's multitudes of issues here. And so that's one of the things I lead. And it's fantastic because it's sort of like the most visible version of government. Your money, your tax money, this is it at work, right? Sometimes you hear people in government talking like fancy things. No, this is on the ground, right? We are there. We are going to clean that street. We're going to remove any crime that's going on. And we're going to make the park more beautiful and green space beautiful for children in the community to use. So I do sort of those kinds of things. So it's both big picture strategic policy implementing, but then it's also interagency, cross-functional, actual on-the-ground operations as well.
I'd just like to take a moment to personally make a request for the Parks Department to please do something about the bathrooms. I don't know what agency we got to talk to. If we got to do an inter-service department, but like it's just so crazy that like you can't have a clean bathroom in a New York City park these days.
Public bathrooms, yeah, that's been a big topic, and I know that
it's a huge topic.
The city's working very hard to make that a normal thing again, right? It did sort of go away for, I don't know, decades. I remember being a young kid, and that was, you would see them. They weren't in the best shape in the world, to tell you the truth, but that is a priority, and I know that's something that's going to be moved forward.
You know, what I remember as a kid growing up was the park had a parkie, right? Like, so I grew up on Sedgwick and 238th in the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
And across the street in the park, Nick was the park, I don't want to call him a park ranger. He wasn't a park ranger, but he worked for the Parks Department, and he was there Monday through Friday. He'd come in at whatever, 7 o'clock, and he would make sure that things were in order, I guess, and I don't ever see that anymore, and I imagine it's probably a budget situation that you can't just hire people to be in every single park in New York City, but I feel like that would go a long way if you had somebody whose responsibility it was, because then that person now can make sure that he can reach out to whoever agency or whatever it is to get like clean bathrooms, like that, you know what I mean? Like, and close the park at normal times, right? Like lock the park up so that way people can't necessarily be in there blasting the music, doing what they're doing, while the people who live across the street are listening to. I can go on for days.
So this is this is his life with me, because I'll be on Twitter, I'll be on everything. I'm like, did you see what's happening? Even when he was at FD, I'd be like, there's a fire. He goes, babe, I know where the fire is happening. I'm like, did you hear about this fire?
She's like, did you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know.
But the same thing, I'm like, do you see what's going on in this? Or like, I'm always on social media, unfortunately, right?
No, I mean,
and
that's
I
the way
see
the
it,
world
I'm
is.
like, did you know this is happening? Or I'll say something like, can you do something about this? Because like, even though...
Can you do something?
I'm all the time. I'm like, and do you know somebody there? But even though we don't technically live in the city, his family's still there. The city is...
We still consider
it's
ourselves
like,
city people.
And it's a place we really care about. And like whenever we go to the city with the kids, and not just like the nice areas, we go everywhere with the kids.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I'm invested. I know he is. He works for the city, but
we make light of it. But the truth is, the thing that we, I know that the team I work with very directly, we actually always want to hear the things from the ground. We do, because it really doesn't matter all the fancy. Well, that's never stopped you anyway. But there's been times where, Jeanesca will say to me, like, did you know about, like, I saw this thing in this place.
Yeah.
And I will, like, we'll just drive by. It's like, oh, actually, yeah, we should have an operation here, right? And just, like, do something. Because if you're not actually doing things for everyday people, what are you I mean, that's just my perspective, right? And we have, now that I have the ability to actually direct some of those operations, what's the point of doing this if you're not going to actually do the public work, right? Yeah. So I encourage it. We want to know what's going on the ground and do what we have to do.
Are there any initiatives or anything that you can point to that was super rewarding, something that you saw, a policy that maybe you might have enacted or something that you might have enacted that you're very proud of and you'd like to share?
I did. Well, I think that Community Link, like I talked about, is one that I really do find rewarding because, like, again, you don't always see how...
Is that something new that's...
What's something that's been done? We've started in the last year and a half or two. Right?
Well, that's very new.
That's new. That's something that wasn't always a formal thing, right?
Okay.
People send in complaints and multiple agencies come to where that problem is. We don't leave till it's fixed, right? I'm very proud of that. I think, again, it's easy to think the government is just this thing that's far away, doesn't do anything for you. And I understand why people will feel that way sometimes. This is real. It's tangible. You can see the work, right? If you go to 3rd Avenue and 149th Street right now, you'll see it. We're out there. There's still more work to do, right? The work never ends, but it's there. Another program that I did not develop this by any means, but I was fortunate enough to be part of the conversations was, I'll find the name for you, but essentially it's a program for people who are in custody. Right? I mean, if you're in custody, what's the future for some folks? They don't know. They can't imagine what the future is.
We're talking about maybe locked up in jail?
People locked up. People locked up.
Gotcha.
The idea of the program is the truck industry has sort of a shortage of labor sometimes, right? They don't have enough truck drivers. Well, you got folks who are in jail for certain specific reasons, right? They ran a pilot where, we'll train you to get your CDL remotely, iPads, the whole thing. We'll get you your certification and then connect you to a job directly, a good paying job.
Really?
That is extremely important and impressive.
Life-changing.
It's life-changing,
Yeah.
right? Recidivism, I don't care what side of the criminal justice system you're on, is one of the biggest problems that exists. We've never solved for it as a society. We don't know what to do. We just lock people up, and that's it. Well, good luck. Well, what are they going to do, right? And this is such a really important thing that it has been successful. The pilot, I think 19 to 20 people of 20 all got jobs.
Really?
These are well-paying jobs, and in New York, you need a well-paying job. It's expensive. So you're just sort of setting people up for success. That is, I didn't even make this thing, but just having to be a part of it in some form or fashion was great. I was like, this thing is fantastic. This is the kind of work that makes you want to go to work. It really is. You're making a difference in people's lives, and it ripples, right? Their families, everybody. So.
So great. Isn't it great? I love him. Like, you're so good.
Get that on camera.
But I'm just listening, right? And the two of you, with all of your differences, your outgoing, extroverted self and your tactical, planning self, the two of you are very much aligned in your core values and beliefs. I mean, what you just described and what you described, how working with buyers, is the same thing. Like, you guys are impacting people's lives on a daily basis. And the two of you don't necessarily maybe look back at it or from the outside saying, oh, this is what I'm doing. You know, like when people ask you what you do, is I help people, buy real estate. Oh, I work in the mayor's office. But what you really do, what the two of you are really doing, is you're changing people's lives. And I think it's important to highlight that and kind of express it, that's what I see and what I hear while I hear you guys talk.
Thank you. I mean, jeez. I can imagine my 22-year-old self just being like, I just want to get through the day.
Yeah, you and me both.
Oh, my God. I appreciate that. Thank you.
If your children are listening to this episode, 50 years down the line, long past after you guys are gone, I'd like for both of you to answer this question, if you don't mind. What do you hope that they'd take away from this episode, and what type of legacy would you like to leave to them?
That's intense. That I love them, and I love them a lot. So sorry about what I said before about them being exhausting. The legacy, family is important. Your community is important. Being a productive member of your community, like leaving wherever you are a better place, should be your guiding light always. And, I'm very religious. Luis is, but not as much as me. But having those guides in your life and feeling that to me is very important. So I hope that is important to them. I hope they follow in our footsteps somehow with that. We love them. We do everything for them.
I think from this conversation, I think the thing that I'm taking away, it's not always front of mind, but it's just true, is that you have to put yourself in situations where you feel like you belong and that you're in a space that was made for you. And I think in our jobs, that's what we have found, is that this is where I should be, right? I get to leverage everything I'm good at and that I want to be good at, right? You have the outgoing experience. It's like all of these, you should put yourself in places where you feel like you belong. You get to be, use your superpowers. And in reality, that's what a family is, right? It's like you create this sort of group of people and you're all there for each other, right? There is the best job we have is being parents. We love it, right? As much as they do exhaust us. And if they hear this in 50 years, they'll be exhausted by their kids, so I don't know. But it's just fantastic to be around in a place where you know you belong. It lays the foundation. Your family lays the foundation for all the confidence you'll ever have, and therefore not go looking for it somewhere else. You don't need to belong anywhere else. You belong here. And then you find yourself a purpose in life, and you belong into some track of your career that you make for yourself. And if you do that, you'll always be happy, right? You always have a family, and you have a job and a purpose. And I think you'll be fine from there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, that's the difference between me and Luis. Like, he could, he just said that, like, oh, I don't, like, I would need to plan, like, that, I need
I wasn't that perfect, but, like, I have to talk a lot at work.
Yeah, so I'm like, I need a couple minutes to know what my legacy is going to be. He's like, I know exactly.
I've not thought about it. I guess it's practice.
Yeah, no.
Here's something that it might be not as intense, but what do you want your clients to say about you?
That I was honest and I cared. That's number one for me, that I was honest and I cared about their goals and, the outcome of everything. And that's how I lead,
She does care. Oh, my God.
I can tell.
She's always happy. When, we close and the family was so happy and the kids.
You know something funny that I noticed about your social media? Yeah. Is it's always like when you close or whatever, it's a part of your personality is like that emoji that you use, that like celebratory.
Yes, that is
like
me.
the 4th of July every time. I'm like, oh,
that is me.
Accurate.
And that's how I wake up too. like good morning. Like that is me.
Very
and,
true.
Yeah, not Luis.
Nope, that's not me. Yeah.
No, I do want my clients to know that I do genuinely care, and I'll be the first one to tell them if I don't think something works for them, that it's not a good idea, double check this. Not every house is the one we should be buying. So
Jeanesca is, obviously we're self-employed. We don't have bosses, but what would you like your supervisors or the people that you work with to say about you?
Or the city that you serve.
Yeah, I think
the supervisors are working closely with them. The city of New York. I mean, listen, if we can figure out a way to thank you, sure.
That I took it serious, that I did the very best I could. And I do. I have to say, I take this stuff home with me. I think about how we could be doing everything we do better every day. And frankly, if you're not at the mayor's office or the fire department or the NYPD thinking that way, you shouldn't do those jobs. They're very intense. They ask a lot of you. Right? You are that when you do that job. You never hear cops say, I do policing. They say, I am a cop. I am a firefighter, right? I am a public servant is sort of the way I would describe it now. That is what you're doing. You better believe in that. And so I want everybody I work with to know I give everything I can all the time. Like I go to sleep thinking about this thing and wake up thinking about it. And I think if they know that is true, right? I think if they know that, then they can sort of extrapolate from there what I'm about. So I would like that.
If you could go back to your 20-year-old self.
God. That wasn't that long ago for me, by the way. I'm very young. I just
that is so true.
If you could go back to your 20-year-old self and tell yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think 20-year-old self. What was I doing at 20? I was not graduated college. I think I would tell myself to have a better relationship with my finances. I think that has been an area of growth for me, and I'm still trying to, when I was a teacher and you have all the school loans and stuff, and learning how to put some money away. And even now in this business, we get paid, and I'm at Home Goods, and I'm shopping away, and I'm like, I could take you out for dinner. I think I would tell myself to invest, connect with a financial advisor, and see more opportunities and more ways to grow my money and protect my money.
And Luis, same question. If you can go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you
marry Jeanesca right away?
I kind of did that. I think, knowing how I was, I've evolved a lot over the last 20-something years. I would say stop letting fear be the guiding principle by which you make your choices. You know what I mean? Like, when I let that go is really when I started to elevate and be the kind of person I would be proud of being, right? I think sometimes we default to fear, and we don't even know we're doing that. And it's a big mistake because you take yourself out instead of jumping in. One of the things that drove my support so much for her jump to real estate is I could see, first of all, that she was just not happy. But two, when somebody just jumps into something, that's when they achieve, right? I think that like pressure and desperation causes incredible ingenuity. You know what I mean? And so stop being afraid. Just do the thing. It'll be fine. And that's what I would say.
I mean, but that's something like that we do in our lives now. Like, and sometimes last week you had the conversation with me of like, you need to stop doing this. And you're so scared of like social media or your marketing. He's like, stop it. Like, same thing.
I have to say it to myself.
Yeah, but same thing.
It's a lifelong thing.
You weren't sure if you should go do your master's at Columbia or take the sergeant's exam and all this. I'm like, nope. Christmas gift. Here you go. Here's some index cards. You're taking that test and you're going to do this.
Fear of failure is poison. It just is. You have to try. I mean, I'd rather fail than regret. That's just me. I mean, maybe that's what I would say to my 20-year-old self. That sounds better than all the nonsense I said before. That way, that's how I would say it.
All right, we're gonna end this with a quick fire round.
Okay.
Okay, and we're just gonna go. We're gonna do ping pong. I'm gonna ask you, then I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
All right. So, Jeanesca, first word that comes to mind when you think of family.
Love.
Luis, your go-to comfort food.
Pizza.
Jeanesca, dream vacation spot.
My home island, Dominican Republic. I just go there whenever I can.
Absolutely.
Luis, favorite NYC neighborhood.
The West Village.
Jeanesca, a song that always puts you in a good mood.
Beyonce. Anything Beyonce. Anything Beyonce. Just Beyonce.
I think I know the answer to this, but who's the bigger planner in your relationship?
I would like to say me. No, I'm kidding.
Guys, I made a spreadsheet for a Disney visit that I still have.
With the weather,
with logos,
the day,
weather, and the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's
when
me.
we were going to allow to use the bathroom, it was intense. Like
I
it
don't
was
think it had
a lot.
that. Maybe it had that.
Jeanesca, coffee first or breakfast first?
Coffee.
Luis, Netflix or live concert?
Oh, Netflix. I'm not a concert person like that.
Jeanesca, sneakers or heels?
I would like to say heels, but I'm getting older, so I do like sneakers now.
Just have preference.
Yeah.
All right, Luis, last one. Community event or private getaway?
Private getaway. Yeah.
I think that sitting here for the past, almost hour, getting to know you guys even better.
That went fast.
Getting to know you guys even better. I said this earlier, but like it's just really, it's really amazing to hear the stories of two people who have come together to create a life and create a family that actually impacts not only the children that you have, but all the other people that are surrounding, all the ripple effects that goes out. So I would just like to personally say that I'm very grateful for the two of you coming on today,
thank you.
and I truly appreciate it. So Jeanesca, since you are a self-employed businesswoman, that is your camera right there. I'd like for you to tell people how to get in touch with you in case they'd like to buy a house from you.
First, you can, to get in touch with me, you can just reach out to me for my phone number, 845-694-9067. You can call, text me, or via Instagram, Jeanesca Martinez, and we'll spell that out somewhere. It's a lot.
Yes,
it's a very Dominican name.
It is, guys.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram and let's connect and let's talk.
And I'm not going to have you put your number out there so people start telling you about more stuff about the parks.
Yeah, right.
But
they'll find me.
All complaints, send them my way.
Send them to Jeanesca.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much. Is there anything that you guys would like to say before we go?
This is a lot of fun, I have to say. Thank you for having us on. I think it's important for folks to just sit down and talk, and you provide that platform. So I'm like super grateful to be part of it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having us, and I'm just grateful to be here and show our community, anybody that looks like us, that they can achieve so much more than they think. Like it's available. You could do whatever you want. So thank you for this conversation.
My pleasure. And I want to give a special shout out to the man behind the camera over there, Mr. Claudio from Kai Vision. So thank you for producing the episode. This has been another episode of the Padernacht Podcast, Brick by Brick, and tune in next week for a new episode. Take care, everybody.